You have a great day.
Thank you very much, y'all.
Stay safe.
Yes. I gave you 4 copies and I kept 1. Do you need more?
He should not. That was 1 extra. Lots of unidentifiable type people today. There's someone named Aiden Loriano, Patriciano Loriano.
We do have a young man on open court who I'm not sure what the backstory is.
Well, there certainly is one I can see from all the people logged in, which is fine.
He's in Paris.
Okay, that's what that
And
is.
he's got a
Yes, they're not on the pretrial though. Well, who is he? That would be.
he's on open court.
Do you know his name? Is it Anderson?
Jaden
Nori.
Corey, yes.
Okay. But probably he can't get in because he's somewhere. Is that what we're saying?
Possibly.
Okay, no problem. We'll sort it out.
He's got status student application. I don't know if he's been placed.
I think so. There's a foster parent logged in. So we'll sort it out. We'll get squared. That's all. Okay. Well, strange. Okay, here we go. Oops, these left these. So we'll just keep that. He's going to send them scanned. And good morning, folks. I'm going to keep everyone muted while I sort out who's here. My name is Judge Person, and I do apologize for the late start. There were technical problems, and then I have a lot of folks I'm trying to sort through who's here today. Just some slightly unusual things, but we'll get it sorted out. I do want to welcome everybody to court, and again, Judge Person, and I just see a few more people needing to get allowed in. Let me get that squared up as well. So the other thing that starts happening is people's connection is different, and I sort of chatter a little and give information until I see that people are in fact connected. And that'll give me an opportunity to sort out who's here and the purposes that they're here for today. I did see Miss Pierce, Ariel Pierce. And if you're able to unmute Miss Pierce, oops, that's the wrong person. There you are. And just let me know, are you here on the Nori case?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just going to add that name so that I don't lose track of the folks that are here for that. So it'll change your name, but it won't change it permanently. It's just going to change it for this meeting. And I'll be with you shortly, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. And I saw foster parent Hayes, and I'm thinking that's the same. Oh, you just did that change for me. Thank you, ma'am. I'll get with y'all kind of, we'll do that in tandem. Is there anyone else here on the Nori case? If so, if you're on the Nori case, just give me a hand for a minute. Okay, that's fine. And then there was a person that was labeled Tandy, and I just wasn't clear about who that would be. And I don't think, oh, they're okay. So you're also that party. Ms. Foster parent for Nori is raising her hand. Okay, so there it went. So now I know where that, oh, now we have this person. Okay, the person labeled TANDE, I just asked if you would unmute and let me know your full name.
Yes, ma'am. Sully Logan Anderson is here for a ticket. This is Terry Anderson. Terry Allen Anderson, his father.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you so much. I'm trying to make sure I have the right files for people, you know, so that we're not delayed on our end.
Absolutely.
Looking for things. And so I just wanted to check in. And then I have another person being asked to be let in that says Sully Logan Anderson. Is that another family member?
That was probably, I was having trouble with our laptop. So it's
Okay,
probably a second attempt by us to make sure we were in the meeting.
okay, I let it in, but I was gonna tell you that you're gonna have to turn that one off because it's gonna cause feedback. So there it went. So just turn that one off and stay on this connection where you're both sitting there talking to me. And I'm gonna disconnect the other one and see if we're still, or you did. Uh-oh, now they both went. They disconnected the wrong. We'll see. Maybe it'll work better that way. You never know. Let's see if we can get them back on screen. And then another person labeled iPhone. I've just asked iPhone to unmute and let me know if you could tell me your name and maybe get on screen.
So Sully Anderson should be here now under
Yes.
Sully Anderson, ma'am.
Yes, sir. I got it. And thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. And then iPhone, can you tell me who you are? I don't have a file labeled iPhone if you see the problem. Thank you. Yes. Can you give me your name, please? So I've sent an unmute request. Hopefully that gives you like a button. iPhone. Let me see if I've got a photo that helps me.
Hello.
Yes.
Dale tu nombre, dice.
And your last name?
My name is Eric.
No, tu apellido.
Oh, Barrientos.
Barrientos? I don't have. Oh, Osorio.
Osorio Barrientos.
Osorio
Oh.
Barrientos. Okay, got it. Got it. Okay, great. Okay, un momento, por favor, okay? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is start just walking the cases through and just telling everybody. At the beginning, I like to get everybody on the same page, and that way your questions get more focused and you're not hearing me take a lot of time to answer the same question over and over again. And I don't mind if the question repeats, but I like to try to give you some things to think about while you're waiting too. So really, here's how I do this. When you're given a ticket or issued a citation, those are ways that we accuse someone. That's what a ticket is. It's an accusation. And a plea is an answer or response to that accusation. And there are three options for pleading: guilty, not guilty, and no contest. Guilty is I did this. Not guilty is I'm contesting it. I'm going to talk more about these. No contest is I'm not going to say I didn't. I'm not going to say I did. Just move forward with sentencing, not contesting the charge. Okay, no contest. So no contest and guilty, we move forward with sentencing. If you've already entered a plea, we're troubleshooting that sentence because maybe it's not working out or there's some hiccups. If you haven't entered a plea yet, then we're working on that for the first time today. If you've pleaded not guilty, that case is moving toward a trial process. And we're doing both things because it's, in a way, I like the term triage. We're doing that with the court. It's a medical term, but it's applicable. So we're sorting things out to see where are people trying to take their case. And if you plead not guilty, you're trying to take your case to trial because it shifts the burden of proof onto the state. And they have that burden if it's not agreed or not contested. In other words, if you're contesting it, you're moving it to trial. So that has a pretrial process. Today, the convenience online. Live, we do a second one if it's heading to trial and not settled today, because at that point, we're setting a bond, we're getting a docket going, we're figuring out what pretrial motions might need to be filed beforehand. There's a number of options that happen or can happen at that point. So that's a two-step process. Then we schedule for trial at that second meeting, which is here live in the courtroom. So guilty or no contest, we're moving towards sentencing. Not guilty, a conversation today, an in meeting, a trial. Okay. On the general rule regarding law and how that works is that if you plead guilty or no contest, we're moving through a process. Normally you're found guilty, it goes on your record and you pay it. There are exceptions to payment that are based on income, which is why the income information was important that we asked you to give the court. Two, there are ways to keep it off your record that I'm going to go into here in just a moment. Before I do that, I do want to talk to folks here for the Jaden Nori case. So I'm going to ask the foster parent to unmute and also the social worker. We're going to see if that works. It's not great usually if three of us talk at the same time, so we'll just take turns. But my preliminary question is whether Jaden Nori is available for court or not available for court at this time.
He's not available right now. Unfortunately, he is being evaluated at a hospital for a psychiatric, I guess, inpatient treatment.
Yeah, okay. That I kind of heard that might be the case, and I wanted to check in about that. So because I can't proceed without that person, my next question for you, caseworker Pierce, is do you have any estimate? I mean, I know it's an estimate, it's rough, but when that might happen, like, are we talking maybe a month would be a good reset, or 3 weeks, 6 weeks? What would be, I'm sure more time is helpful, but can we get there? Onto this platform. So it would be a platform like this.
Right. I'm not certain. The incident happened just last night. So I think that we're still kind of waiting on figuring out where he's going to be and what they feel is needed. So I don't really have an answer as to what the timeline would be like and where he's going to go next.
Okay. So what I think would be best is for us to put this, it's 60 days out, September 20th. And I'm going to do that on the court's initiative rather than anyone else's because he's not able to sign for it. And even though he's underage, I believe I can do that on this type of exigent situation. And what I'm going to say is that I'm going to reschedule this hearing for September 20th online. And if we can do that with foster home, that's great. Now, we'll send, have we sent forms already? I'm sure we have. Okay, we sent forms somewhere to someone. And so what I would like to do is have, I think probably the foster parent. What email did we use?
I filled them out and I tried to send them over, but I think there's some issues with the encryption through the state. And I didn't know, I asked for other methods to send and I didn't get a response on that. So if there's another method I can send aside from email, that would be helpful.
In fax is no problem. The fax number, if you're ready.
Yes.
Is 254-773-4301. Normally we can email, if you'll just do a smartphone photo of it, that works, and PDFs, but it can depend. And I have had other government offices and the average citizen might don't know what's happening with that, probably incompatible systems. So let's try it another way and see if we can get there. And I'm just doing a reset. But what we'll do is hopefully get those from you if that's possible. I don't know, without walking through it with Mr. Nori, I think I'll just table it. But I will generally say that for first offenders in my court, which Mr. Nori would be, we have first offender programs and things like that. That's not to say that he couldn't contest it and isn't contesting it. I don't know. But I just kind of want to reassure probably the foster parent that we can probably work through this this type of channel, because I know y'all are far away at this point. So
he does have pending charges out of 2 other counties. I don't know if that impacts y'all's ability to do some sort of first offender program.
Yeah.
But he has pending charges in 2 other counties as well.
Right. No, and in particular with a juvenile, I wouldn't run a background search because it wouldn't really help us. And really the issue with a first offender program with this kind of offense is to get some targeted education about the dangers. And it's not about holding a record against a person. It's about a health and safety issue.
Great.
The offense itself is. And so that will be where my focus will be when we come back. Okay, so I'm going to send out that notice to the email that we were using because you're saying, yes, that email works, right?
Yes.
And caseworker Pierce, if you can continue to keep us coordinated as long as you're allowed to, that would be helpful. And
Yes.
if not, and also Ms. Burdick, I'm sure y'all are working together on behalf of the young man. So we will email it to the email we were using. And if that doesn't work or changes, someone please let us know. You can email, call, or send a letter in, and we'll just stay in communication, but we'll reschedule that. That should happen today. And then we will just see everyone in September. And by then we should have a pretty good idea of how things have settled, probably well in advance of that. And what will help me too is to know status. Sometimes when a person's going through something this intense, they have a lot of programming that they're attending and things like that. And we're willing to work within the structures that are at that point set up. As a Class C court, we sometimes fall in line with those. So it'll help me to know what programming and programs he's performing when we come back in later. You know, counseling, classes, things like that are not uncommon to see down the road here. And we can sometimes piggyback on some of that and not double up the burden on the person. Sometimes you get to that spillover where we're actually just making it harder and not helping. And so I want to be sensitive about that when we return. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
All right. We will see y'all in a few, several weeks.
All right. Thank you.
Y'all are free to go at this time if you wish. There's a person on a phone call that came in, and it's a 254 area code, and the number ends in 931. Can you speak up and tell me your name? Phone calls can sometimes take a little while, but
Hello?
yes, hi, tell me your name, please.
Teresa Brosu. Ma'am, I'm having a problem getting on my computer, and I was going to
Okay.
come down there, but my car has been breaking down.
No,
I
the
haven't-
phone call is fine, ma'am. But here's the thing that happens with people on the phone. Sometimes they kind of get busy and they stop tuning in. They don't hear it anymore. And then I call their name out when it's their turn and they miss their turn. So just at some point, I'm going to call your name out loud. And
Yes, ma'am.
be listening, okay?
Yes, ma'am. I am not moving, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Hang on. And there's an iPhone that I'm asking to unmute. I'm going to ask one more time. Can you unmute your iPhone? I think it's still Osario Barrientos. Is that still Osario Barrientos? I have a lot of chaos today. So I'm just, okay. It just keeps changing your name. I'll just make a note of it, Mr. Osario Barrientos. We'll be with you shortly. In a momento. Okay. And the person who just came in, now they're joining, Alexis Whitman. That's a defendant. Okay. So I'm going to get back to our discussion. And where we were was just, we had talked about, not guilty, moving in one direction. And I'm about to start that docket. The other thing was guilty or no contest, moving into sentencing. And I was about to talk to you the ways that are available to keep an item being on your record. So there are four options for keeping an item off your record that I have directly available. I'm going to tell you what they are, and then I'm going to tell you how they work. It's pretty brief, but I think it's helpful. Compliance dismissals, driver safety course options, deferred dispositions, and teen court are all methods I have available from the bench to keep an item off a person's record. Compliances are things that can be brought up to date and dismissed. You can automatically assume that I will be looking for that, see if we can get you there. If you don't think I caught something, or if you're curious why I didn't talk to you about it, you can ask me about it. I'm in no way trying to stop you from asking me questions, though I cannot give legal advice. I can give you kind of a what, who's who, okay, of how things work. But what you can assume is that I am looking for those compliance dismissals. One example would be a headlight that was out. You got ticketed for the headlight being out. You brought it up to date and we get a dismissal with a $10 fee. But you got to be on time for court for all of those, just about. So I'll be looking for those. 2 is a driver safety course option. That's for folks who have a moving violation in Texas with a Texas Class C license or active military or dependents. I'll be looking again to see if you're qualified for that program. It does keep moving violations from your record, which can be a concern for people with insurance. It also saves you money. So let's talk again about money. It's not people's favorite topic, but since I do it every day, I'm kind of used to talking about it. So one thing with the money on a ticket, okay, if you called a clerk and said, how much is this ticket? They gave you what we often refer to in this field as a window fine, okay? There's some set fines to let people know who just want to pay a ticket so that they're not held up going through a legal process, just trying to get a number, right? But that number represents several things. And you can take those numbers, you can break them down multiple ways. One way is to break them down through costs and fines. And that's an effective, interesting way to break it down because it delineates some responsibilities that different parties have. So costs are set by state law. And state law costs are established by the state of Texas legislature. And the fine is set by the judge of the court, and that would be me. In the driver safety course option, you pay the court costs because I can't waive them because this legislature says I can't. Okay, simple answer. The fine goes on hold because I get to do that. Okay, you pay the court costs, you get a driving record turned in, the right record, and the driving course turned in, the right record, right course. And I dismiss the ticket and I waive the fine. Okay. So it does represent a savings. Now you are paying the court costs, the class, and the record, but it is still less expensive to pay all of that and get the class done than it is to pay the whole ticket. And there's actually a reason for that. And the main reason for that is because we know empirically from all of the evidence-based practices that if a person takes a class after they've received a ticket, they move into a safer bracket for driving on the roadway. And folks who have received a ticket, and they don't take into account who was found guilty and who was not. People who get a ticket move into a higher bracket for death and dismemberment on the roadways. Texas is the #1 dangerous state in America. And if you are 25 or under, you're in the top group for being killed or maimed on our roadway. And that is just the truth. And what we know is if that person takes a course, they move back to really where they were before they got the ticket. So it's a program that is incentivized for a very specific reason. And that's a health and safety reason, which is why we even have a traffic ticket system. So it makes sense. It's very logical. So I will be looking to see if you're qualified to be in that program. If you are, I will talk to you about it, see if you want to do it. No one's going to force you because we can't, but it's encouraged. Okay. And there's incentives. The money is a savings, but we take your time because you have to do the class, get it turned in and be on time. And that what we call statute, that law is very, very detail specific. So we will expect to put those details in writing with you before you sign up, as you sign up. So read everything carefully. Okay. A note about that too is that if you're not qualified, I'm probably not able to make it be that you are qualified. But if you are curious and I'm not talking to you about it, definitely ask me. Okay. So that's the second way to gain a dismissal. The third one is if you are asking for and you receive approval from me for what is called a deferred disposition. A deferred disposition is exactly what it sounds like. Deferred is a delay, disposition is to make final. We hold off on making it final. I take your plea in. I put an order in place that lays out the terms and conditions to gain a dismissal. If you do those things, I sign a dismissal. We put it in writing. So I am bound once I agree, and you are bound once you agree to how this is going to work. It's basically an agreement, a contract, if you will. And the way that that works is that if I approve the request, then I tell you what the conditions will be. And we see if we can come to an agreement about that. It's pretty quick. You'll watch me do that probably sometime this morning. And then we keep that in place. Once we get that in place, you have a document and you do the things that are listed. We have to sort out fines and costs. You'll be required to keep your address current. You'll be required to not reoffend, get more tickets, not to get warrants, not fail to come to court when you have court proceedings. Sometimes there's a class, sometimes there's a record, sometimes there's some service. Okay. You get those things done, they'll be spelled out and listed. You check off the boxes on your end, and you know that I will sign a dismissal. You might be asking yourself, how do I get that to happen? And the answer is the judge has to grant a request. So that means you have to ask. Okay. And it's very simple. Guilty or no contest, I'd like a deferred. So lots of legal history there about that. But the main thing you need to understand is that you have to ask the judge. The judge does not ask you. And I'm not going to go into the legal reason for that, but it is important. Okay. And it has to do with safeties and protections afforded by the law and the Constitution. So guilty or no contest, I'd like a deferred. The judge can say thumbs up or down on that. I'm open to it every time I'm asked. That's the law, that I remain open, and I am. But I have to listen to each case specific to make a determination. Okay. There's no automatic on that. Okay. Now, that's the third way to gain a dismissal. The fourth is if you qualify and successfully complete team court. And I'll just be working with the young people in the group today to see if you want to do team court. And I will automatically assume you want to do it unless I see that you're not qualified to be in the program. Okay, so those are the four things that I have. And now I want to go ahead and start the contested docket. Right now we have 5 people on that docket and we need to get them started, but everyone needed to know their options before we do that. So Ryan Matson is the city's prosecutor. He does not work for me as the judge. He is the prosecutor representing the state of Texas in the cases that get filed in this court. He's here today to meet with you if you have contested your charge. He does not represent you. He represents the state. Mr. Matson, if you can unmute and just say a few words so that you float up to the top of people's screens and they can see you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ryan. I'm the prosecutor.
Okay. And so Mr. Matson is going to be going into that breakout room. And the breakout room is for the pretrial folks who have pleaded not guilty. And the first person is Joel Matthews. And so Joel Matthews, I'm actually going to, I think he's still here. We've had people, yeah, there we go. Mr. Matthews, I'm going to send you on over to that meeting. So while y'all were waiting for me to start this morning, I was watching everybody log in. And I've got a rough order of when people logged in. So I'll be sticking to that. Just, it's a fairness issue. And if you were in the courtroom, you would be standing in a line. And I don't let people jump the line when we're here. So I try to stick to that as well. So I'm going to then begin with that in mind. With Terrence High, you were here. Mr. High, can you unmute?
Yes, ma'am.
How are you today?
I'm good. Yourself?
Thank you for asking. I'm fine. Okay, I looked at a few things this morning, and let me just kind of give you my rundown of where I think we are, and then I'll hear from you as to whether you agree or if there's more I need to know. Okay, that's kind of how I like to approach it. So there's a speeding charge from November 23rd of 2021. If you paid it at the window, it's $499.20. Why that is so high is that there are collection activities and a warrant just for not, showing up on time. Sometimes an additional charge gets filed for not showing up. That did not happen here, which is fine. I'm not trying to make it happen. You're here now. And I received a plea of no contest to that offense in writing and a request for a payment plan and some income information from you. And so my first question for you is no contest your plea at this time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You also requested a payment plan and submitted pretty thorough information about your circumstances. And it's not bad or anything like that, but I did notice that it could be a real challenge to do a payment plan. I'm willing to approve a payment plan. You offered to make a higher payment plan than I would probably approve. I would go lower and allow you to pay more if you want to, of course. There's no penalty for that. But when I set a payment plan with someone that I think has challenges, and I don't know you, so it may or may not be the case, then I would probably lower that to $50. The other thing that's available, however, and that would be a month, is to do community service, which you do qualify to do instead of making payments. And you can do that where you are. You're not required to come to Temple to do that. So it would just have to conform to the court's rules, which includes that it would need to be at a nonprofit organization in your community that is a nonprofit under at least state or federal law. So those are right now your options. It's kind of an either or. We can mix that bag, but it's not great to mix it up front. Sometimes it gets mixed, but it's better to pick a path, because if I've got two paths, there's more likely to be divergence than if I stick with one path. So let me hear from you, Mr. High. You can tell me what would be best here in terms of your circumstances.
The community service would be kind of hard because I travel so much for work.
Okay.
So that's why I kind of wanted to try and figure out the payment plan situation.
Okay. If I schedule you, the thing is, what I'm seeing is that your work is one of those things that probably does the ups and downs. So if yes, sir. If I scheduled this for $30 a month, you could always pay more and just get done faster. The warrant would go off. Okay, I would turn the warrant off. The hold on the license that I suspect I have at this point, just looking at the number on this, that goes away when the balance is zeroed out. So it would be beneficial to speed up your payment. But what I don't want, Mr. High, is for you to go back to warrant, because that's not my intention. Okay.
Right.
And warrants cost money, and every time one gets turned back on, it adds money to your balance. And I don't think that's helpful here. Okay. So what I would tell you is, if I schedule $30 a month, is today a day you could make a payment of $30, or would you need some time?
Yeah, I'll have to. It'll have to be when I get paid, because I'm out of town on a job right now, and
Okay.
I need the finances to kind of survive for the week. But I get paid on the 29th. Also, while I'm talking, what does the hold on my license mean?
Okay. So that's a great question. And you're probably not the only person here who has that question. And I'm going to get the clerk to just verify that there is an Omni hold. No, there's not a hold. So that's good news.
Okay.
Right. The way that works, just for folks who might be sitting there wondering the answer for themselves, because I'm probably going to get asked that at some point this morning. If a case sits too long and we don't hear from a person, we begin what is called collection activity. It's not a presumption of guilt. It really has to do with the person. When we get a ticket, there's a court date on the ticket itself, right? And when the person doesn't show up, that collection activity begins. And it starts with a letter that says, hey, Mr. Court Date, please come in. Because if not, you're heading to a warrant. And then they don't come in, the warrant happens. Then they don't come in further. We start saying, has anybody heard from this person? And the way that we do that is through a trace collector, someone looking, and that has a funding mechanism behind it. And then because the warrant goes out, and we assume that people who just were scared or ignored it, or didn't understand, even though it says it right there on the ticket, we're giving them a second chance. But once that warrant letter goes out, then we're starting to see if there are other methods to get the person to deal with the matter. So one is a tracer person, or it's really an organization. The other is that we start placing a hold on the license of a person. And that hold says, hey, you need to contact that court or you won't be renewed on your license. And they start sending notices to another system. When all that fails, we start looking at placing a hold on the registration of the vehicle that was utilized at the time. So those are all the things that we're allowed to do, and we do them. They don't all happen at once. It's kind of if this doesn't work, then we move on. If this doesn't work, and that happens. But once those things happen, they're there, and they just have to be dealt with at that point. Because what we started with was a signature where a person acknowledged that they had a duty to show up for court. And that duty is there, even if we disagree, because we have the right. See, all of our rights in our Constitution, I don't want to get philosophical for an hour this morning, but I do want to say, we have rights and people love to talk about their rights. And I like my rights, just like everybody else. But my rights are connected to my duties every time. Okay. So I have a right against unreasonable search and seizure. In other words, I'm 5 miles over the posted speed limit. I shouldn't expect to go to jail. Right? My headlights out. I shouldn't expect to go to jail. I should expect a ticket with a duty to show up. And the right doesn't work if the duty isn't honored. The right fails if the duty isn't honored. So that's why a warrant happens. That's why a hold happens, right? That's why we get to. That's it in a nutshell. And so I'm actually not lecturing right at you, Mr. Hyde, but what I do want to highlight, you seem like a really, congenial person. And I'm assuming that because of the way that your work happens, you lost track of this. Okay.
Right.
But what I'm going to say to you, though, is I don't have an interest in a warrant again and increasing your burden. Okay. But you have to do your duty. And what that means is that if I permit a payment plan today and recall your warrants, I expect you to follow up and do your duty and either make payments or communicate, if you cannot, in writing, explain and tell me what you think would solve the problem. Okay. So if we schedule you to make a first payment, for example, July 29th, which is what you said should work, of $30, and you're unable to make it, then you're communicating what's happened. And at a certain point, I can't continue with the payment plan if it's not working. So we try community service because those are the two things I have. So what I would like to do is send you a payment plan where you can print it, sign it, send me a fax or a photocopy of it today. And that's a promise to pay. And I'm gonna give you an opportunity to honor your word. I think you will. And then you can pay online or by phone, or if you mail it in, I tell people don't mail cash. Money orders are your choice, but they're hard to track if they fail. I don't know what goes on with all of that, but I get an inordinate amount of people who tell me it was a money order. And while I believe them, if we don't receive it, we don't receive it. And it's hard to get that money back on those. I don't know why. So don't lose your money. If you have a check, mail a check, we take a check. We take an online payment. We take a payment in the building in cash. That's pretty safe for you. Ways that I think protect you are kind of how I advise that. But you can pay online, by phone, or by your check, because that's yours. And you can get that money back if it gets lost in the mail. You have more refund.
Right.
So those will be the ways that you do that because you're a remote participant. Okay. So we can email that to you to the email that we used to send the meeting for today. Will that email continue to work? Is it still good?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then can you either print it and fax it back, print it, sign it, fax it back, or print it, sign it, and take a photo and send it back?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Then we're going to send that to you this morning. As soon as I get your signature back, I'm recalling your warrants so that you don't have to worry about those.
Okay.
And we'll go by that order. That becomes your court order. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate it.
Okay. All right, Mr. Hyde, do you have any further questions?
I don't think so. I
Okay,
think
you've had
you
good questions.
explained very well.
You've had good questions this morning, and I think probably there are others who have this question. And so I took some time to answer them because they are not uncommon questions, and they're good ones. And so we'll just let you go and look for your email. What my anticipation is that you will get that signature back to us today.
Yes, ma'am.
With the thanks of the court, you're free to go.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mattson, I did see that Joel Matthews moved back into the meeting, and Mr. Matthews, you can unmute. Mr. Mattson, if you'll let me know where we are with this matter, that would help.
Your Honor, we'll go ahead and set for final pretrial.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Matthews, we're going to go ahead and schedule that final pretrial for August 24th at 3 o'clock, and we will plan to see you in the courtroom at that time, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we'll see you then. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then I'm moving the pretrial docket forward. Carly Cummings is the next person on that docket. And Ms. Cummings, sending you over to that meeting at this time. What I expect is you'll come back in this meeting after that discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and I'm also moving forward to talk to Michaela Whitman. And Ms. Whitman, I think you might be able to hear me. I've been seeing a lot of difficulty with Ms. Whitman's connection, and there it went. She just went. No, she's still trying to.
No, my connection's being really bad, but I finally was able to get in.
Okay, is Alexis Whitman your parent?
No, Alexis is my sister, and I have no idea why she's on here.
Okay.
Because she's not on here. She's not even at home right now.
Okay, well, she's not connecting, so I'm just not going to worry about it because you're 17, and so I can move forward with you without your sister. She's welcome to be here. So if she connects in, we're going to allow it, but I'm not going to wait for that because you have had some problems, but she has too. So it might just be, you're 17 and maybe she just wanted to make sure things were okay, So that's fine too. But this one is a failing to yield the right of way at a stop intersection. And I see that you're a student. It was an accident. And you have requested teen court, which I will, let me just look. And you have pleaded no contest. And the fine is $269, but teen court is an alternative to that. I will accept your plea of no contest. But before I do that, is that your plea today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so what I will say then is I will accept your plea. I will grant teen court. With teen court, there is a $20 fee that we normally ask be paid today. And it is payment in cash because you're going to have to come to the building and do your paperwork. It's your final paperwork with your court order. We need a signature and we need to get the teen court fee paid. Can you pay that fee today?
Yes.
Okay. And then what happens next is that what I would say for teen court is that I would require a driving safety course that you can take online or around town, and a 3-page essay that has to do with traffic safety. And if you will agree to those terms, then I will grant teen court.
Okay.
Do you agree?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so your course is going to be due August 23rd, along with your essay. And we'll give you the written topic. I'm not going to read it out loud to you here because it's just easier. If you get it, look at it when you're here, read through, make sure you don't have questions. If you do, you can ask a clerk. If a clerk can't answer, they can get a question to me as well. And what you'll be doing is just getting your essay done, getting your class done with a not later deadline of turning everything into the court here no later than August 23rd, which is 30 days from today. The reason we kind of speed that up is you are in the top bracket. Folks who are under 25 who have had an accident are in the number one group of people who then go on to die in a traffic accident. So we don't want that to happen to you. And what we know is the sooner the better on the essay on the course. Okay. Okay. Now, the next question I have for you is when can you come by the court today? What time is going to work for you?
I'm not sure. My mom just went to work, so I would drive myself. But whenever this whole thing is over, I honestly have no idea when.
Okay. Is your sister a driver?
No, she's 14.
I see. Oh my goodness. Okay. So was she in the vehicle with you?
In the accident, yes.
That might be your parents might have felt like she should be. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna say that you need to be here by 4:30. And if that can't happen, you're going to need to email the clerk and explain when you can be here, because it really should be today. But since we don't have a parent who has the card to confirm that that can happen, I don't want you to take risks to get here. But I'm going to say 4:30 or email, or you'll email in with a confirmation of when you can get here tomorrow. Okay, because that's about what I've got to give you in terms of what I can allow. Okay. And if not, then we have to schedule you again to get back into court. Okay. Okay. We'll have everything at the front desk. And when you get here, it shouldn't take more than 10 minutes. Okay. Okay. Ms. Whitman, do you have questions?
Not really. I don't like that fence was so close because I couldn't see. But that is completely my fault. I didn't check long enough, I guess.
Clearly.
But yeah, right. But so after you're done talking to me, do I stay for the whole meeting or
No.
do I leave?
Yeah, you get to leave. Just like if you were in the court, you would get to leave. So you get to leave. Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah. So what I'm looking for is you coming in with a $20 fee, a class, and an essay to gain a dismissal and a waiver of the balance.
All right. How am I gonna get the course?
So we'll give you written directions for how to find the course, and you'll go online and find the course.
Okay. How do I submit the course?
Yes, you get a certificate of completion, and you either bring it by or you submit it through the email system. But always call and confirm that we received it. And the same is true for the essay. If you bring it in, you know we received it because you get a copy that says received, right? If you email it, you need to confirm because the duty is on you to get it turned in. Okay?
All right.
Okay, very good questions.
Okay.
Thank you. You're good to go. And I'm next working with Victor Harlequin. And forgive me if I did the last name incorrectly. Mr. Harlequin, good morning.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good, and you?
I'm very well. Let me just kind of give you the rundown like I've been doing. And
Okay.
and we've got a number of things. It's a little bit complicated, which is okay. But so I'm going to make you pause for a minute because I want to keep Mr. Matson moving. And he had just been speaking with Ms. Cummings, who's back in the meeting. And I want to move them. I want to advance them forward. So just pause. Hang on a moment. Mr. Matson, Ms. Cummings, where are we with regard to this?
Your Honor, Ms. Cummings will be placed on a standard deferral.
Okay. And do we, was there an accident?
No, there was not.
Okay. And do you have any sense of, is it being paid today?
She said that she can pay in full within the first 30 days.
Okay, because I have no financial, so I'll have to work on that. Okay, are you requiring a class?
Yes, Your Honor, driver safety course by the 60th day.
Okay. How are you feeling today? You don't sound great.
My voice has definitely sounded better, but I overall feel better than yesterday.
Okay, well, that's good news. Great. Okay, I'm going to move you forward, Mr. Matson, and your next person is Joshua Davis. Mr. Davis, let's see, there you are. So can you unmute so we know we're all working?
Yes.
Okay, great. And you've seen how this is working. You're going to leave and come back. So I'm going to go ahead and send you over, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Cummings, we sent some a financial affidavit request to you with your paperwork, and we didn't receive it back. So I can do the 30 days. I don't have a problem giving you that 30 days.
Okay.
But I need that form filled out in order to actually grant that. So what I propose is that I send you the deferral order, unless you're coming by, but I see you're out of town probably. So what I would do if it works is email you the deferred document for you to sign, re-email the financial information for you to fill out and sign, and you just send them both back at the same time. Can that work for you?
Yes.
Okay. The form for the deferral, which I have granted, will say payment within 30 days. That's contingent on that form being filled out. The course due within 60 days. We'll send class information.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm making notes. You get you get 2 items back. I send you 3 items, you give me 2 back. The deferred order signed, the payment application back, and we'll also send you course information. And then you'll see, you'll read the things that are checked off, the boxes that are checked off are the ones you're going to follow. And the active ones for you to do are payment class.
Okay. I was just a little confused. So I'm having to pay like everything that I would be paying if it were the ticket and do the course?
Yes.
Okay. And there's like no ways of decreasing the cost of that just from the circumstances and
I don't know your circumstances because you didn't fill out the form, with all due respect.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm trying to make this work.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
I'm trying to make this work from someone who isn't doing what they're supposed to do to help me know what's going on. So
yeah,
if that doesn't work, then we can reschedule you and figure it out with more information.
Yeah, I tried to fill out the form, but it wouldn't allow me to do it online. Is that
Not
something
like that? You just print it and fill it out and send it back. It's like you just use a pen.
Okay.
I'm not trying to be rude, but it's like pretty limited. It's not hard.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about your circumstances because you didn't put it in a format that I can consider.
Okay. I understand.
So if we need to reschedule, we can. If 30 days doesn't work, then we can.
No, it's fine.
Okay, but that's what I understood. You're willing to grant it and meet you halfway, frankly, even though you haven't met me halfway. So I think it's fair.
Okay.
Okay. If it can't work, you need to tell me now. Otherwise, I'm going to assume that it will. I'm going to email it all to you. I'm going to count on it.
Okay.
Okay. All right, then. We'll do it that way.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. You're good to go. Sign a document, and then I'm going to get back to talking with you, Mr. Harlequin. Thank you for waiting.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we do have a number of things, and that's kind of why I made you wait a moment, because I need to walk you through each one. So bear with me because it's some detail for us, okay? There's a stop sign charge from May 6th of 2019. The case went to warrant. I have a no contest plea on that charge, and the balance would be $570.
570 for one ticket?
Yes, because you neglected it.
Because what?
Because you neglected it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like when you go on a payment plan and you don't do what you say you're going to do, and then a warrant gets issued, it puts $50 on every case. That's state law. I can't change it. Okay.
Yes.
Elections happen, that puts money on your case. Holds happen, that puts money on your case. The longer you wait, the worse the hole gets bigger that you're digging for yourself. Yeah. So we're there, right? But really my goal today is not to beat you up about it. It is, however, to get you onto what is basically a progress a progress plan to get this all squared away and taken care of. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And I have a very particular way that I do that because I don't want to miss steps. So that's going to take a few minutes. And I need to get it real clear with you right now because frankly, there's a lot for us to talk about and other people are waiting. Okay.
Yes.
So the next thing is that there's a violation of a license restriction from May 6th of 2019. It went to warrant and the balance is $395.20. There is a violation of the promise to appear from that same time, and it went to warrant and the balance is $505.70. There is a no insurance charge then from December 12th of 2021. No plea was entered yet. The balance is $430.30, and I believe I received a plea for that. Let me just grab it and make sure. Yes, of no contest. And is that your plea to that charge today?
Correct.
Okay. Then there is another no insurance charge from April 18th of 2022. The balance is $281. That has a mandatory state law fine. So that's the minimum that's allowed on that one. And I received a plea of no contest to that charge. Is that your plea at this time?
Correct.
Okay. And then I received a plea a no insurance charge from June 9th of 2022, a balance of $281. Is that your plea at this time? No contest?
No contest, correct.
Yes. And then I received, there's an expired motor vehicle registration charge. A plea of no contest was received. The balance is $151. Is that your plea at this time?
Correct.
Then there is a failing to display two license plates as required by law. The balance is $181. And I received a plea of no contest. Is that your plea at this time?
Correct.
Then there is a no insurance charge on May 26th, and the balance would be $281. And I received a no contest plea. Is that your plea at this time?
Correct.
An expired registration from that same stop with a plea of no contest.
And then I have 6 more of the same tickets on top of that. I got again from police officers. What had happened was they I don't know if there was an investigation.
Can you hold on?
Yeah.
Let me do one last thing. There's a no plate charge, not two plates as required by law charge again from May 26th, and it's $181. And I received a no contest plea. Is that your plea at this time?
Correct.
Okay. Are those pending tickets that you were just discussing with me?
Yes, they're upcoming.
Hold on. My question is, are those here?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I don't have them in yet.
It's because I have a later court date for like 4 more days after. Well, in 4 more days, I'll have another court date for the same reason.
Right. Okay. Let me hold on just a second. Let me check on that. Wait a minute.
Okay.
Okay. So, sir, I don't know because when was that stop? Was it in June?
It was I cannot remember, but I got a paper in the mail. It was 3 papers saying the same thing that you just said to me, but it was saying that I have a court date coming up, and I was like, I have a court date tomorrow, so I will bring that up to the judge.
Okay. I believe that stop was about a month ago.
Yes.
And you filled out your papers for it, and that's all been included.
Okay.
So I pull everything together. I don't make 3 steps where one will do. Okay.
Well, thank you.
Because again, I said it earlier, that creates a divergent path, and we need to bring everything forward.
And
so
it's time consuming, correct.
Yeah. So you did fill out your financial forms, and I was able to understand that I can order community service for all of this instead of payment. It is quite considerable because of, how much there is, right? But what I'll tell you is it turns into 170 hours to take care of all of the cases. And there are, in fact, 11 cases. So I would order the community service. And It's 170 hours. I'm going to start with a due date of 60 days. I'm thinking you might need more time than that, but I need to see how much you can do so that I'll know how much more time you're going to need. That makes sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you can do that at any nonprofit organization. Do you by any chance go to any services around town for help with food and shelter?
No, but are you familiar with the Unincluded Club of Temple?
Yes, I am. They're one of the providers on my list as long as they can work with you.
Yes,
Normally,
ma'am. I'm familiar with them.
right. Well, that's going to pend their acceptance because normally I'm only sending young people there. And
Oh, okay.
yeah. And
Well, I
so,
was just in that program since I was 6 years old, so I know a lot. That's why I have brought them up. When
right.
you said
They are
nonprofit organization.
they are a nonprofit, so that would work. But I need you to come by the court to sign for your paperwork.
Yes,
Because,
ma'am.
yeah. And so, when can you be here this morning?
I can do that today.
Yeah. What time?
It'll be anytime after 1:00.
Okay. Okay. I'll make a note that you'll be by around 1.
Okay.
And we'll have everything at the front desk, and you'll get instructions for how to conduct the community service. You'll have
Okay.
a time sheet with a due date. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have any questions right now?
My only question is, do I come to the municipal court again for that?
Yes.
Okay.
And we are a safe harbor court. Since you're coming in to resolve your cases, you will not be arrested. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. I'm going to let you go, and we should have things at the front desk by the time you get here this afternoon.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Matson, you and Mr. Davis had a communication. Are we able to get to a resolution, or are we heading to pretrial?
We're going to set for final, Your Honor, but there is an offer on the table.
Okay, that's fine. Mr. Davis, what that means right now is that I go ahead and schedule your final pretrial. It's not the trial, it's the pretrial. And I anticipate offers being withdrawn at that time. So we're looking at that as kind of a deadline that either an offer has been accepted or you're here in the court September 7th at 1:00. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. I'll let you go at this time. Okay. Okay. And Mr. Matson, I'm moving you forward with Tina Insall. And Ms. Insall, thank you for your patient demeanor this morning. I'm moving you over to that meeting. Are you able to unmute?
Yes.
Very
Can you hear
good.
me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm moving you over. I think you've watched kind of how that's working. I'm moving you over to a meeting with the prosecutor. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. And I'm also moving forward with Sully Anderson and family. Good morning. How are y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
Thank you
Very
for
well.
asking. I'm fine. I did receive your information and thank you, and a request for teen court and a plea of no contest on the charge of failing to yield at a stop intersection, which was an accident case where if you paid at the window, it's $269. Is the plea no contest at this time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I will grant teen court. There is a $20 teen court fee. Can we get that paid in cash today here at the court?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then in your case, I think you've probably heard this, but it would be no different, which is that there's a driver safety course that I would ask that it be completed by August 23rd and turned into the court, along with a 3-page essay regarding traffic safety that we will give you in a written form of assignment for you to turn in. Will you agree to those terms?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you feel like so what happens is if you pay the $20, get your course and your essay turned in, you get the ticket dismissed, and I waive the $269 fee.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So the next question I have is when can you come in to sign your paperwork. You are 16, and so your father or another parent would need to come with you.
Right. As soon as we leave here in this, we can come down to the court.
Okay, that will work very well. We should have everything ready for you by the time. And I'll look for y'all around 10:30 or 11.
So do we go to the same place that we filled out the other form?
You do, but it won't take very long.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we'll have everything at the front desk for you. Read it when you get here. Make sure any questions you have get answered. If they can't answer, they will get the question to me, but clerks have some authority to answer, the more basic questions. So you shouldn't have any delays.
Okay.
Okay, we'll
Thank you
see
very
y'all.
much.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Y'all too. And I'm going to move forward. Y'all are free to go. I'm going to move forward with Graven Castilleja. Are you here? You were earlier. Okay. And let's see. Aiden Larian. No, Patricio Lariano. Could you unmute?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Tell me your name.
It's Aiden Loriano.
And the last name? Oh, there you are. I see you. There you are. You've been logged in, and I don't know. I wasn't able to identify you earlier, but I knew you were in line. Give me a moment to pull your case up.
Okay.
Okay. So there is a theft under $100. Give me just a moment to review it. Has he had anything with the court before? Okay. You're eligible for a first offender program that we have. It would save you money and keep the item off your record. Are you there with a parent? Great. Hi, ma'am. How are y'all this morning?
Good. How are you?
Your mom, I assume?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a first offense for Aiden as far as my court is concerned. And the way that we do that is, he's 13.
Yes.
And the thing is, this kind of offense really can affect the future. Okay. So I did receive a guilty plea. And first,
Yes.
I want to make sure do you feel like he understands what is happening here, what he's accused of, and the options for pleading guilty, not guilty, and no contest?
I believe so.
Okay. Does he understand? You believe so? Is that what I heard?
Yes.
Okay. So the next thing I want to tell you is we have a first offender program, which allows that without paying any court costs or fines, he would do a class in theft intervention. It can be it's online, and you get it done and turned in on time, and the case gets dismissed.
Okay.
We do need to get him signed up for the program. I see that y'all are in Cameron.
Yes.
One way for us to do that is to email everything and have you email it back with I'm going to need, a copy of your license with everything that's signed. Can we get that done through the email process today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then that's what I would be inclined to do. Now,
okay.
Aiden, let me ask you a question, Aiden. Do you understand what you did wrong here?
Yes, ma'am.
Another question I have is, have you considered how this happened for you? Like, are we talking about, were you with other people who were doing this? Or was it your idea? The answer isn't going to change what I do, okay? But I'm interested in the answer because I'm interested in getting you to think about it.
I was by myself.
So one thing that this course is going to do is get you to think about when you're in that situation again, and you will be. One day, you'll be tempted. And the answer is not to pretend that you won't be, right? The answer is to say, when that happens, what am I going to do about it that's different, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the course is going to be heavily focused on that. I've done the course. I don't send people to courses that I don't understand. So, so you'll do the course, and it's going to help you have a plan to not ruin your life. Because what are your goals? Like, you're young, so you may or may not have a plan yet, but have you thought about what you want to do when you're older?
I want to be able to play football.
Okay, that's an admirable goal. Now, very few people get to, right? One thing about that goal is that when recruiters look at people that they want to back and support, they don't want people who get in trouble.
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
So yeah, so even that goal, you don't get out from under. Other things that can really be impacted are if you have an interest in a career in health services, in medicine, in dentistry, even veterinarian care. You can run into real problems with a theft case on your record. So what happens now is that you get to keep it off your record, right? So you haven't ruined anything for yourself. But if you reoffend, it really could create a problem. So I don't want to boil you with pressure, but I do want to increase a little pressure that you really maximize this opportunity and view it as an opportunity to learn so that you don't change what could be a good future for yourself. Are you with me?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sure mom is too, but let's ask her. Mom,
Yes.
how do you
Yes.
feel about it, mom?
Well, I was so embarrassed when they called me to the office at Walmart.
Yes.
And I asked my son, why you do that? He was having the money to buy the stuff.
It's not about money with most people, especially
So
young people.
it was wrong.
Yes.
And he's having like a lot of problems since daddy left.
Okay.
And I mean, I'm trying to be here for them. I work like today. I wasn't able to go to work because I have to be there. And I mean, that's important to him, but that's the money that is not coming this week to the house. And
Yes.
I'm the only one who support this house. So I hope he understand and he don't do anything wrong in the future. Because I want the best for him.
Of course.
And he's only 13.
Yes, I completely understand. So yeah, so Aiden, like there's some hiccups in your life right now, and you're hitting some stumbling blocks, and you can really learn how to handle those. And mom's going to be helpful to the extent that she can, but you also will have to do your part. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So she'll probably need to check in with you a few times and maybe even supervise you some to make sure you're doing the class. Okay. She's also going to have to front the money for the class. It's not expensive, but it's not, money's money. And you're going to have to find a way to help her in return because she's helping you. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
We're going to email everything over to the email that we used to set up the meeting. Will that work, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then print it, sign it, get it back to us with your ID, and we'll proceed forward. The class will be due in 30 days.
Okay.
And that's all that's going to be asked of you and him. But you're going to have to help him pay for the class. It's probably going to be about $50. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And then, but I mean, I think better than $296.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
keeping it off his record.
Yes.
Yeah.
And did I have to pay this money like when I send the paperwork or when I need to pay?
When you go online to sign up for the class and give him plenty of time, he needs at least a week or longer to complete it.
Okay.
So I would say within the next 2 weeks would be about when you're paying for that.
Okay.
Okay. And it's not to us. It doesn't come to us. It's just, there'll be a list of providers that we give you today in that email, and you're going to look and pick one.
Okay.
Okay. All right. There you go. We'll send it over to you. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Have a blessed day.
You too. Y'all are good to go for now. Aiden, I wish you the best. I look forward to seeing your report back. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Mr. Matson, I know that you and Ms. Insall had communicated, and if you can give me kind of status on that would be great.
Yes, Your Honor. We're going to go ahead and set for final, and I'm going to
Okay.
look into this case a bit further.
That'll be fine. Ma'am, Ms. Insall,
Yes.
the next thing we're going to do is schedule you to be here at the court September 7th at 1 o'clock. Okay. You can call the day before and see if if you have to be here, but you should assume that you will need to be here unless I have in some way signed off on anything finalizing the case. Okay.
Sorry.
Yes, ma'am. No,
Wait,
you're
wait.
fine.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is Mr. Matson still here?
He is. Yes, ma'am.
Or are you both?
Yes.
Okay. I do have to say that, well, to be in compliance or whatever, I know he said he has to send the code enforcement back by. I put the screening up and it was awesome, but with our winds the last couple of days, it ripped the panels down. I have gone on Amazon and got real sunshade. It's JT sunshade, whatever, and
Right.
those have to be installed. So you know that part of them are up and the others was blown to bits. So because I was trying to use what I had.
Okay.
But I have gone on to the Amazon. I can go to court. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm stopping you only
Did you say?
because I'm trying to.
Mhm.
I'm stopping you only because I actually am not supposed to get involved in this part. And this is really
Yes.
it's really right now between you and Mr. Matson and any possible resolution that he's proposed and the code enforcement department.
Mhm.
So I want to encourage you to work with code enforcement and the problem. And that way you and Mr. Matson might be able to get to a resolution. But we'll just plan to see you September 7th at 1, okay? And we will get a status report
Yes,
at
ma'am.
that point, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm not trying to be rude. It's really how the law works is that because it's still considered contested, I am not supposed to be vetting the facts right now.
Understood.
Okay, but you keep doing what you're doing because it won't hurt in terms of
Yes, ma'am.
solving the problem, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm gonna let you go. Yes, ma'am. I'm gonna let you go, okay?
I just go away?
I'm gonna actually make you go away, but I don't do that without telling you first. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never done this. Sorry.
I gathered, and that's fine. That's fine. You're learning and it's great.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Israel Escamilla, can you get on screen, please, and unmute?
Still working?
Yes, you're working. I'm going to send you over to that meeting now, okay, with Mr. Matson.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you. Okay, just one moment. There's something else. And talk. The family here with Mr. Assange, it's a no deal. I can't tell if school, they want 30 days to pay. Yeah, then that's good. Because I'd like to see if he's getting a license, and if not, what we're doing next. Just one moment, folks. I'm getting a Spanish speaker. Un momento. Yeah. So what I want to have them do is call him.
Hello.
Hi. Good morning.
Hi, I am his. I could speak for him. I think you heard. I think I heard that you were getting a Spanish speaker. I could speak for him.
Okay. Okay. Can you get where I can see you on the screen? Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I received the paperwork that he sent in. And I
Mhm.
guess I don't mind giving 30 days to pay, but
Okay.
my first question is, is he getting a driver's license?
¿Vas a agarrar una licencia de manejo?
Sí.
He will be soon. He was out early in the morning getting breakfast, and that's when that happened. But he will be getting one soon.
How soon?
¿Qué tan pronto?
Como en lo más pronto posible ahorita, regresando
He's saying
lo más pronto posible.
the soonest possible that he can get an appointment. Cuando tengan citas, no tienen citas ahorita que no.
¿Citas?
Ujú. Citas para como
No.
de la licencia. As soon as he can get an appointment for the driver's license, there are full right now.
Yeah. It's been a month and he doesn't have an appointment yet. So I don't know that we're going to have time. If he could get it within 30 to 45 days, I might be able to do a dismissal. Otherwise, we can schedule payment.
Let me let him know what you're saying so he can understand. Dice que ya han sido 30, 45 días y no tienes una licencia, que ya han sido esos días para que hubieras agarrado una. Si tú la agarraras, la tuvieras ahorita, ella te quitaría el caso. Pero si no crees que eso puede hacer posible ahora, ella lo que puede hacer es arreglar un plan de pagos.
Estaría en un plan de pago, ¿no?
He said for him it works better if he can do the payment plan.
Okay. So he wants 30 days to pay?
Yes, he wants to just like get that done over with, and then he will actually still work on getting his license.
Okay. I can give him 30 days like he asked, but I need to email it and have him sign it and return it today. Can we do that?
Yeah, sure, you can do that. Te va a mandar para que firmes y todo, okay? Por email.
Can you get it back to us with a signature today?
Yes, ma'am. I will take care of that.
Okay. And then
And he needs to sign, or I need to sign myself as well.
he signs.
Okay, sure. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then email it back. And then he has that 30-day window to do payments or get it done.
Okay, yes, ma'am. We can take care
Okay.
of that today.
Okay. I just wanted to check in before I approve that to see if we could get the license quickly. It's fine to do it this way as well. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Y'all are free to
So
go.
you're just gonna send the paperwork through his email, and then we just sign that out. Once we sign that paperwork, we can start doing the payments. Do we do them online, or is there instructions on there?
Yes, you can do them online or you can call the clerk. Online is probably easier for y'all. If you go to the municipal courts tab and click on it, there's information there. So you go to the City of Temple Municipal Court. If you put that in your search engine, Temple, Texas Municipal Court, you'll find us and there's a button.
Okay, but there's instructions on the email as well, you said, correct?
There'll be some instructions, yes.
Okay, that's fine. We'll take care of that, and we'll follow up with the payments.
Okay, thank you.
¿Alguna pregunta?
No.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I end up meeting you, but I thought, so thank you. Okay. And Mr. Escamilla, Mr. Matson, where are we?
Sorry, I didn't realize I was still muted. We're going to go ahead and set for final pretrial.
Okay. Mr. Escamilla, we're scheduling you for August 24th at 3 o'clock, okay?
Sure. Give me 1 second. Let me write that down.
Okay, and we'll send it in writing as well.
Okay. You said
I think
August.
I think we've already given you that information because it would have been on your settings for this to double check that, but it's,
okay, sure.
going to be August 24th at 3 here at the court.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you. We'll see you then.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you. You're good to go. Mr. Matson, I hope you feel better soon. You're also good to go.
Thank you, Your Honor. I guess Mr. Flores, Mr. Morphus, and Ms. Proctor were all no-shows.
Right. Yes, I thought that I briefly saw Gino Flores. I let him into the meeting and he went away. That was about an hour ago. So I don't anticipate that he solved whatever the issues were, and we'll just advance that to the final date and see if we can get him physically here instead.
Not a problem. Just making a
The
note.
other two were no shows.
All right, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. You get better.
I'll try my best.
Keep nursing that throat.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Brochu, I'm sorry, Teresa Brochu, can you unmute and we can talk?
Yes,
Hi.
yes, ma'am.
How are you today?
Hi. Good. I'm a little frustrated. I haven't been able to make it to work, or because we had COVID in the house, and then my car is acting up as well. So I haven't really been able to do a whole lot of things. But I want to take care of this and I want to plead no contest, but I want to take care of it today.
Okay. So what would be, I mean, we have you on community service for your red light charge. And then we have this, we have this theft charge, but the community service on the other charge, it's already due. Like it was due a few days ago. And I'm gathering that you've been sick and you weren't able to do it. Is that what's happening?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And my car has been broke down. And I called the other day, and she's like, "Oh, well, you have court today. Just talk to the judge then."
Yeah.
So
No,
I was
that's
like,
good.
Cool.
That's definitely what we're doing. If I give you the theft charge, I have a question. Have you had a theft charge? Have she had a theft charge with us before?
No, ma'am.
You have the ability to take a class online?
Uh-huh.
You do?
Yes, ma'am. I got my home computer.
So one thing that we could do is you could be in the first offender program, but we need you to sign up. And since you've had COVID, are you still sick with COVID? Are you still quarantined?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I returned back to work yesterday.
Okay.
And yeah.
What I can do, if you'll come by the court, here's what I can do. If you could come by the court today, you could sign up to be in the first offender program. What that looks like is that you take an online theft intervention class within the next 30 days and get it turned in on time. It has to be on time within 30 days. Proof that you've done the course. And then I dismiss the charge and you don't pay that one.
Oh, really? That is great.
Right. It also keeps it off your record.
Yes, because I wanted to get a job. I really didn't. I forgot. What happened is I went in there. It was after work. I usually go in there every Friday after work, cash my check. I went in, my pants were falling down and my belt broke that day. And so I went in there and I put a belt on it and I forgot about it. And they caught me right at as soon as I passed the registers. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And they're like, "The belt." I'm like, "Oh my God." I tried to pay for it then, but they're like, "Nope, you stole it." I'm like, "Oh."
Okay. So this is why we have this program. It's for this kind of one-off situation. Okay.
Yeah.
And
okay.
So what I need is to know that you're going to come up to do the sign-up process for that, and that you're motivated to get it dropped, basically, by doing your course. And then on your other matter where you have community service due, I'm just going to give you 30 more days to get that done as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that, ma'am.
Yes. Well, you're staying on time. You've been staying on top of it in spite of everything. So I feel like you're a pretty good vet.
Yes. Because I don't like, having stuff especially at my work. My boss hasn't said anything, but, sometimes the other employees, I work at a automotive place, so the auto part guys, they get frustrated, I guess, and they're like, whatever, and they just hang up. But my boss, he really don't say nothing. And so, if I was me, I would have fired me.
Okay.
So I really got to get this under control.
I agree. So this is a plan. okay? And I'll just
Yes,
give you
ma'am.
more time on the community service. And if you need those documents for community service again, you can have them reprinted when you're here today, okay?
Okay, I got them.
Okay, great. And then we'll give you more forms to look at, but they'll be for your first offender program, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so when should we look for you to be here?
If you give me
1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, what's gonna work?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get a ride, or have somebody go finish look at it's a battery on my car right now,
Okay.
and it's overheating. So if I can get like down there and just sit down a minute and let it down. I mean, like I'm working on buying the parts. I spent hundreds of dollars on parts. So if I can just get down there and let it cool down and to make it to work.
Yeah.
Give me about an hour.
Yeah, that's fine. Why don't we look for you no later than 3?
Then 3? Okay, yes, ma'am, that works.
Okay. We'll look for you around then, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Miss Brochu.
All right, have a nice day, ma'am.
You too. You're good to hang up, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.